Hi there. Today we read chapter 20 of Enid Blyton's The Land of Far Beyond. In this last chapter, we have the three children, Peter, Anna, and Patience, stuck just outside the gates. The guardians of the gate will not let them in. Will all of them make it through? What do they need to do to pass? We are about to find out. But before we continue, if you have not watched the previous chapters, please do so before continuing. Welcome to my space of make-believe. With just words we shall weave, places and people, adventures surreal. I am Tell a Story. This is an invitation to come with me. Chapter 20. Three unhappy children. The wonderful man. The children lose their burdens at last and enter the city of happiness, the great prince of peace and love. The three unhappy children turned sadly away from the archway where the bright angels stood. What could they do now? There seemed nothing to be done at all. They walked away from the city entrance, and Anna cried bitterly. Not far off was a stone bench. The children sat down wearily and looked at one another. I suppose we must go back to our own city, said Peter. But how unhappy we shall be there now. How we shall hate the cruelty and unkindness there, that once we thought nothing of. How we shall detest the selfishness and greed, the spite and the laziness. And how we shall look for the things we now know are worth having, said Patience. I shall remember mercy and pity, but we shall never see them in the city of turmoil. I shall often think of courage and wish he were with me. Do you suppose mercy and pity would let us live with them and help them each night when they go into Giant Cruelty's castle? Said Anna suddenly. I can't bear the thought of going back to the city of turmoil and carrying this awful burden there for the rest of my life. Maybe it would grow lighter if we worked with mercy and pity and did what we could for those poor prisoners. Well, we'll try, said Peter, cheering up. Come on, it's no good staying here. It will only make us sad and unhappy to hear the sound of those bells that we thought were ringing out a welcome for us. He got up to go, but at the same moment a man came towards them. He had the kindest and wisest face that the children had ever seen, and they looked at it spellbound. Who could he be? The man spoke to them. What are you doing here? Why do you not enter the city? We can't, said Peter. The angels with the shining faces won't let us. They say that only happy people may enter there, and we have burdens to carry, which make us unhappy. Do you so much want to enter the city? Asked the man. More than anything, said Anna. We have come so far and have gone through so much danger to get here, and now we may not enter because we are unfortunate enough to carry these burdens. We are very sorrowful. Let me take your burdens and carry them for you, said the man. You can't do that, said Peter in surprise. Don't you see? They are part of us. No one can carry them but ourselves. I will carry them for you, said the man, and he stretched out his arms to the astonished children. They went to him, and he pulled them down beside him on the stone bench. Then the children did not quite know what happened, but in less than a minute all their burdens were taken from their backs, and the man had them on his. The three children stared in surprise and joy. My burden's gone, cried Peter, and he leapt around as he had not done for a long time. Oh, I feel so light and happy, sang Anna, and she danced as she used to do. It is wonderful to be free again, cried Patience, her face glowing. She ran to and fro, feeling how marvelous it was to be free of the aching weight on her back. The man sat watching them, his own shoulders bowed with the terrible weight on them, but he did not look sad. On the contrary, he looked happier than any of the children had ever seen. He smiled as he watched the children running and jumping. Anna ran up to him and took his hand. How did you take our burdens away? She asked earnestly. No one else could do it. And why did you do it for us? You have never even met us before. Will you be able to enter the city yourself, now you have our burdens to carry? Asked Peter. You will meet me there, said the man, smiling. Now go, children, and enter the city at last. It is your city now, and you need never leave it again. Happily, the children ran towards the great archway once more. And this time, the angels, seeing the children had no burdens to carry, made way for the excited company and let them pass into the city. How the bells rang out! How glad they seemed! How welcoming were the faces of all the people in the great city! There was nothing but gladness everywhere, and the children danced for joy. Their burdens were gone. They were free. They could live happily in the city and need never go back to the city of turmoil again, unless they, like Wanderer, went out to seek and help others. Maybe, perhaps they could fetch their mother one day and their friends. But now they were too happy to think of anything but their joy at being light-footed and happy-hearted. The bells rang more and more loudly as the children made their way to the heart of the great city with its beautiful buildings topped by the shining towers. "Why do the bells ring?" asked Peter. "It is to welcome the king's son," answered a happy-faced woman. "Look, come with me to the king's palace, and we will stand on the great steps to watch the prince greet his father." The children came to a wonderful palace that rose to the very clouds on high. Leading up to it was a marvelous flight of steps, and on these the woman and the children waited to welcome the king's beloved son. The bells rang more loudly, and then the people began to cheer and shout. The prince was coming, the Prince of Peace, the Prince of Love. "Here he comes," cried the watching people, and up the steps came a dazzling figure whose face shone like the sun. "What is his name?" whispered Peter. "He is called Jesus," said the woman, astonished that the children did not know. "Do you not know him?" The children shook their heads, and then Peter gave a cry. "But we do know him. It was he who took away our burdens from us outside the city." The three children gazed in awe at the beautiful figure of the Prince of Peace. How could a prince, the son of the king, trouble himself to take their burdens away and carry them himself? "He took away our burdens. See, he carries them on his shoulder now," said Anna to the woman. She nodded. "He carries the burdens of the whole world," she said. "Not only yours. He has enough pity and understanding, enough faith and love to save the whole world." The shining figure passed, and the children had to cover their faces, for they were dazzled. They were filled with awe and joy. "To think we shall be able to live here for always," said Anna at last. "How glad I am that we struggled on through all those dangers and difficulties to reach this wonderful city at last." And there, among the ringing bells, we must leave Peter, Anna, and Patience, little pilgrims come home at last to the eternal city in the land of far beyond. The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Now I remember why it was and still is my favorite Enid Blyton book. Hey, if you would like to read this book, search it up online as it is in the public domain. Until the next time, go grab yourself a book, read, and let your imagination take you anywhere. Be anyone and do anything. And do share your reads with me in the comments. Would love to know. Thank you so much for watching, and Happy Easter. Goodbye.